and welcome to another episode of Now About That with James and Sarah. I'm James.
And I'm Sarah.
And on today's episode, because it is our first recording episode of the new year, Sarah and I are going to do a quick catch up, and then we're going to talk about some resolutions. I pulled a list of, we don't have to go through all of them, but 45 New Year's resolutions that you can actually keep from Country Living. And then I figured we could talk about some stuff that we want to do in the coming year.
Oogly doogly.
So first off, Sarah, how was your New Year's holiday?
It was okay. I went to a party and I didn't enjoy myself at the party. It wasn't the vibe.
I hate that saying.
I don't care. It's the best way to describe it. Is like the vibe was off. It just wasn't the vibe. I only knew like 4 people, 3 of whom are people that I see on a regular basis. So like Nick, Horace, and Kat. I don't know. It ended up turning like, okay, I had a fair warning that it might turn into that kind of party with, some sexy stuff happen. But I was under the impression that it would be completely separate from the rest of the party, so that if you didn't want to be involved in that, you didn't have to be. That was also not the case. So I ended up seeing a lot of penis that I did not want to see. This was not like Saltburn. This was not fun. Why are you ignoring me?
I'm not ignoring you. I'm looking at my notes. Leave me alone. Don't be mean to me.
He's not looking at me. He's not reacting to anything that I'm saying. He's just looking away.
I think my biggest thing is, how long did you stay there after you found out it wasn't what you thought it was going to be?
Well, I was there for a while, but I also did not drive myself. I rode.
That's not a good enough excuse. You know what Uber is. You use it all the time.
Yeah, and I didn't have any money for it. That's why I rode with other people. But
anyways, other than that, did you do anything else?
Yeah, I've been playing video games and dealing with stress at work and playing more video games.
I was going to ask, how are things at work going now that everybody knows and it's getting closer to her last day?
Everybody's asking the same question. Okay, well, when are we going to have another manager? When are we going to have somebody else?
No. Have they started doing interviews or anything?
They have apparently started doing interviews. They're telling me supposedly we'll have somebody by the end of the month. And I'm like, well, that's good, because if you don't have somebody by the end of the month, then you're really going to be screwed. Because I'm leaving. I'm not doing that. I'm not getting stuck in that. So anyways, it's basically just me trying to soak up as much information as possible before she's gone, in case I need it.
Well, that's good. I mean, at least you're applying the time that you have.
Yeah. I'm not like going into it wanting to fail. I just don't have a lot of confidence in the company.
Sounds understandable.
So what about you? How was your New Year's?
It wasn't bad. I didn't really do anything. Ryan's been sick, so he hasn't been wanting to get out and do too much. And we went to, I can't remember what we actually did. We didn't do anything on New Year's Eve because we knew it would be crazy. So we kind of just watched some YouTube and movies and stuff, and then just went to bed. And then it's just been, I went back to work on the 2nd. We had new hire orientation. I had new hire orientation on the 2nd and the 3rd. And then I've had a few meetings this week where we talk about some of the things that are coming up in the year. And I did get a small, not performance bonus, but recognition within the amount of a monetary bonus for the work I did last year. That's in addition to my actual like regular compensation bonus that I get every year.
I love that.
I haven't gotten it yet, but it should be on, I think, probably the next paycheck or next week. Sometimes for some of those things, it's called a spot bonus or a spot award. Sometimes those things come out after your paycheck does.
Yeah, I've had that happen before. I'm supposed to get a bonus because we hit our ultimate tier goals at work for our gift card sales.
That's good. Didn't they come to your branch or whatever, your facility, and ask why you weren't doing so well? I thought you were like just not doing that great.
At one point, yeah, they had come and were like, why aren't you doing well? And we were like, well, I wonder. But anyway, but we made it anyway. So I get 16% of whatever I sold. So I'm going to get a pretty hefty little bonus, but I don't know if that's going to come this paycheck or if it's going to, or if it'll come the second paycheck of the month.
No. I don't know. I think I'm more okay with this one coming after or for the next paycheck, because that paycheck is where I pay my rent, and that paycheck is basically my rent. So I don't really have much. So hopefully it'll come next week, or next paycheck, so that there's a little bit more extra wiggle room I have for that month.
Fair. I am also hoping for something like that. I actually found out right before the end of the year that I've hit my max SAP for school.
Yeah, we talked about that on the last episode.
Okay, so I have an update on that.
I was going to ask if you had an update. Cool.
I do. So the update on that is I had to fill out some paperwork. I had to watch a video that had literally nothing to do with the reasoning behind why I hit my max.
Yeah.
Because most of the time that people hit that, it's because they are having academic issues, like they've had to miss too much school or something like that.
Yeah.
Like they're failing their classes. So that's the majority of what it was going over, was like, ways to find help and support if you're failing your classes, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, okay, cool. So went through that, filled out the paperwork, electronically signed it, turned all of that in. They said it can take 30 days for me to find out, like, whether or not they approved or denied me. And so I'm like, okay, but does that mean that I'm going to have released to me the financial aid that has already been awarded?
No.
Or does this mean that I won't get any financial aid at all? Like, even though it was already awarded to me. So I don't know. I am going to actually send an email on Monday and ask about that, because I'm just like, no, that's a little disconcerting for me.
No.
Since it's very helpful for me and I can't pay for school otherwise.
Right. Yeah. It's like, how do they expect you to pay for school if you're not getting the funding that you would typically have for your school?
Exactly. So, and like, I mean, it's not like the classes in and of themselves are that expensive, all things considered.
No.
But it's still a month's rent, like a little less than a month's rent that I would have to pay for my classes. And that doesn't include, the books, any fees that I have to pay for materials that have to be accessed, that kind of thing. So I guess we'll see. What happens.
Sorry. Coughing.
It's all good this time.
This time.
So then you cough again in defiance. Wow.
But then I muted it that time, so I didn't mute it the first time. Although I'll cut it out anyway, so it'll just sound like you're an asshole, Sarah.
You won't leave it in there just for the context clues.
Remember, I'm the one that edits this bit.
Well,
you want to jump into some of these resolutions that you can keep in 2024?
yeah. Did you make any resolutions?
I don't make resolutions, and I actually listened to someone the other day, and they made a good argument for like not calling them resolutions. It was Mamrie Hart. She said, I don't like to call them resolutions because I don't really like the term resolution or resolute. But it also seems like to me, everybody when they make resolutions, they make them kind of in like a negative tone. And it's like, I want to lose 20 pounds or I want to do this or something like that. Instead of making it into a kind of more positive, like I want to try and read more, or I want to try and write at least an hour a week or something like that. So a lot of times people are making resolutions that are kind of wanting to deprive themselves of something or like wanting to remove something from their daily activities, when they should be, instead of saying I want to I want to watch less TV, it's maybe I want to spend more time with friends and family, which then will kind of remove the amount of TV you're watching because you're spending more times with friends and family.
Yeah.
So it's kind of more about setting goals on things that you would like to do more of or have more access to throughout the year. And I'm not a huge fan of setting goals. I have to do it for work every year, and it's always a labor, and I hate doing it. And then like the only goal I've ever actually set for myself is moving into my own place before I was 25, and then owning my own home before I was 35, which the first one happened before I was 25. So that was fine. But the second one's not going to happen anytime soon. So.
Right.
And I've become okay with not owning a home before I'm 35 because it's insane out here. Like that was very different times, and the housing markets are crazy. If you look now, it's like it costs more for a home loan in some cases than it does to just pay rent. And then there's also like the housing upkeep and all that you have to pay for as well. Like from a money standpoint, it doesn't make sense for me to try and buy a house right now. Plus, I don't have the money saved to put down for a down payment or anything like that. So,
right.
It doesn't financially make sense for me to look into buying a house anytime soon.
That's fair. That's
also
reasonable.
And I don't like the idea of being tied somewhere where I'm going to take a massive financial loss if I try to sell. Where like now, if I needed to break my lease, it's just 2 months rent.
Right. That's true.
And maybe like a small fine that I would have to, like, not a fine, but a fee. And the only reason I would be leaving Rhode Island is to move somewhere else that's paying me more, and they would be paying like that lease breaking fee.
Right. Obviously.
Typically. And that would be like part of the compensation I would ask for
right.
a new position which isn't going to happen anytime soon. But I like the fact that it's there. That possibility is there. Whereas with the house, it's not really there with a house if you own a house somewhere.
That's true. That's true. I like to make goals. I used to like making resolutions, but I fell into that cycle of it was just very negative, and it was coming from a place of, low self-worth and self-hatred. And so now I try to set goals for myself that are small. They're small and they're achievable. And that way I build myself up rather than tearing myself down. So that being said, this year I read something that said, your resolutions don't just have to be serious. Your resolutions can be fun. Like you can resolve to like eat more desserts or, whatever. So with that in mind, I set one quote unquote serious goal for myself, which is recognizing that I really struggle with making decisions.
You? No.
I know. I really have a hard time making decisions. A lot of that is based in trauma, but so my serious goal is to make more decisions, not like, and they don't even have to be big life altering decisions. They can just be like, little decisions. Like instead of saying, I don't know what I want to eat, like, or I don't care, whatever you want, I could say, oh, I would like to have Popeyes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like a decision like that.
Speaking of, I saw a TikTok the other day that was this guy and his girlfriend or somebody, maybe his wife, and they were talking about, it's that conversation that always happens with, what do you want? Where are we going? Or what are we doing for dinner? And he, instead of him saying, I don't know, what do you want? He said, guess where we're going. Like he had already made a decision, and then she said something and he was like, how did you know? Even though he hadn't made a decision. So he kind of forced her to make the decision for them.
Nice.
I tried it on Ryan and it didn't work because he watched the TikTok with me and I was like, damn it.
Wow, way to ruin it for yourself. And then I made a fun goal. And so my fun goal was to play more video games because I haven't been doing that a lot and haven't been doing a lot of things that I enjoy. So that's what I've been doing.
Well, that's good. Oh, I did. Now that I say that, it says about the goal, but what I did, I went to the beach that we have been going to with Bobo, just down, it's not too far down the road. I went and got my haircut and then went to the beach because it's literally right down the road from where I get my haircut.
Mm-hmm.
And I got there and I was like, well, first of all, I was annoyed because there was this guy that was sitting at the entrance, like parked weird at the entrance, and was feeding all the seagulls. So they were in the middle, blocking the entrance to where you couldn't turn into the parking lot.
Of course.
I was like, what are you doing? Do this somewhere else that's not right at the entrance of the parking lot where it's going to now block the entire entrance so no one can get in. But then I looked over and there was fence around the beach because they were digging it up. I don't know if they're like putting in a new like facilities or something like that there, but I couldn't even go onto the beach.
Aw, that sucks.
So I just sat and ate my sandwich in the car and then went back home. But I did get my hair cut, which was nice.
It looks great.
Thanks. All right. Well, you want to jump into these 2024 resolutions that you can actually keep in 2024?
Yes.
So the first one is eat more vegetables. Beware the carb dairy takeover. Be more intentional about eating your veggies, and as you start the new year, by making more veggie-licious side dishes. I hate that word. And veggie-filled mains, like a vegetable soup. Your body will thank you later. Snack on crunchy raw veggies and more veggie-filled smoothies too. I like vegetables. I love vegetables, and I can eat vegetables all the time. However, Ryan's not a huge fan of most of the vegetables that I really enjoy, so we ended up eating mainly potatoes, which are more starch than vegetable. So it's difficult. Like I could eat asparagus or broccoli every single day, and he hates both of those.
I could absolutely eat both of those on a regular basis as well. My problem is that one, it can be expensive, and two, I prefer fresh to frozen. But the problem with fresh is I sometimes don't cook it in time.
Yeah.
That's a huge waste of my money.
That's the big issue with us too. It's like we get it and then we forget about it, or we decide, I don't want to cook tonight. So we order something, and then by the time we get around to actually cooking it, aside from potatoes, they have a pretty good shelf life. So that's why we mainly eat potatoes.
Yeah.
And carrots, like the baby carrots. I'll get those and snack on those because I prefer those as a snack to anything else. But one of the things I would like to do this year, and this isn't a resolution, or I'm not saying anything about like I'm going to resolve or it's a goal for me to eat this more, is whenever I'm feeling like I want something sweet, is look for something that's kind of a healthy sweet. Like instead of a candy bar or something like that, have an oatmeal or like a fruit that I like that will satiate that need for something sweet instead of something that's filled with like bad stuff like a candy bar.
Yeah. What I do for that is I have these churro plantain chips, and so they're plantains with a little cinnamon sugar, and way better for you than anything else as far as that goes. The second one is go to sleep earlier. There's wisdom in the old saying attributed to Benjamin Franklin: early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Resist temptation to stay up late watching TV or scrolling your phone, and instead try to get the recommended 8 hours of sleep for your body. It might just help you cut down on caffeine too. I don't know that I believe that.
Yeah, I don't know that I believe that either, mainly because I like coffee too much.
I was about to say, I am like 95% coffee at this point. So
mine's not even like I need it to stay awake. I just really enjoy coffee.
Mine is a combination. I love coffee, but I also need it.
Yeah. And then that kind of brings up my issue. So Monday night, I could not sleep for the life of me. I laid down. I watched a little TikTok and stuff on my phone after I took a shower, and then I was trying to go to sleep. I had to get up at 6:15. The last time I looked at my clock, my phone, it was 5:45.
Whoa.
And I still got up at 6:15 and got up and went to work. And then it was Tuesday night, I came home and I was exhausted and I crashed and fell asleep and slept. I think I went to sleep at like 9:30, which we typically don't go to sleep until like midnight, 1 o'clock, but that's normal for us. But I fell asleep at 9:30 ish. And then Wednesday night was another night where I was trying so hard to go to sleep and just couldn't go to sleep until again, like 5 a.m.
Jesus.
And I got up and I was like, okay, I'm going to grab my stuff, go to the bathroom and start getting dressed and get ready because I needed to go in for something. But then I was like, I went into the bathroom and I was like, I am too tired to drive. I don't want to go into work. There's really no reason for me to need to go in. So I just decided that I was going to stay home and work from home that day.
There you go.
Because I was like, I slept until like 10 o'clock. And then I had a meeting, not a meeting, but a webinar that I was listening to about AI integration. And I was like, I couldn't drive in because I was like, it's dangerous for me to drive right now because I'm so tired.
Right.
And then last night I took 2 melatonin because I was like, I am not dealing with this again. So I took some drugs.
There you go. No, I tried to go to bed earlier recently. Like there have been a couple of days where I was just like trying to go to bed early. But my problem is like, even if I lay here, like my brain's still going.
Yeah.
Like I could have set aside my phone at least an hour ahead of time. Like I could be doing something else. Like, because I know they say, oh, well, you need to stop looking at your screens earlier, blah, blah, blah. And I try to do that. It doesn't matter though, because my brain still going.
Yeah. And I think that's my biggest issue too, because it's like I can lay down and be ready, like laying in bed for a while, but it's like I can't shut my brain off to go to sleep. Mm-hmm. Like I'm thinking of things that I need to do for work, or I'm thinking of things that I need to do for the ERG, and like I'll have an idea and I'll be like, oh, I want to look this up. And it's like, you need to go to sleep, dude. You have like an hour, you have 2 hours, you have less than an hour to sleep, and you have to get up and actually be functional.
Yeah. Yeah. I do that too. And the other thing is that what makes it worse is when you can't get your brain to turn off, and you can't get it to turn off, and then you look at the clock, and that makes it worse.
Yeah.
Because then you're counting down.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, I need to go to sleep right now, or else I'm not going to get like XYZ. Ugh, so stressful. I hate that. I might as well just listen to my own circadian rhythm and just like go to sleep when I go to sleep.
Right. All right. Next one on the list, number 3, is create a doable cleaning schedule. The last thing you often want to do in any open block of your time you have is cleaning, but a regular schedule can make it more doable and maybe even less painful. That's debatable. Start by thinking what needs to be done and how often, and then plan out who will do each task and when.
Now, see, that's something I'm actually working on right now.
No, I like that. However, if I tried to tell Ryan to do something, he either forgets or ignores me, like taking the bathroom trash out whenever it starts overflowing, since it's his bathroom and it's from him blowing his nose.
Yes, this is something I've heard before.
You were bad about it too, Sarah.
I know. That's
when
why
we lived together.
Something I've heard before. To my own credit, though, I've definitely cleaned up more than Ryan did. But anyway, but no, this is something I've been trying to do, is like setting like a timer for myself, like a 20-minute timer. And I just get done as much as I can in that 20 minutes. And then when the timer goes off, I can either, set another timer and continue what I was doing, or I can move on to something else. And most often, whatever it was that I had been dreading doing ends up being done in the 20 minutes or less. So that's kind of helping some for me, but we're getting there. We're a work in progress.
Yeah, ours, it's less like big things, and it's more the trash and dishes are the biggest issues that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I hate doing dishes. I don't mind taking out the trash, but I will not take out the bathroom trash because that is his.
Right. I don't know how to explain it. It's for me, my problem is also dishes, because I also hate doing dishes. It's my least favorite chore ever. But it's more of I will think, oh, I need to take my dishes downstairs. I need to wash them up. And then I'll forget about them, and I'll come back upstairs and I'll be like, well, I'm not going all the way back downstairs. Like I'll take them the next time I'm going downstairs, and then I forget. And then, and and I hate that cycle. It's so hard to break out of it. So that's my problem. Number 4, spend more time with your family. It's easy to let your family's activities take over all your time and wear everyone out. Instead, be proactive about scheduling time for dinners, walks, read-alouds, excursions, or game nights together, and make a point each month to plan a date night or 2 with your partner. Take advantage of family activities that come with each season, too. Well, my family doesn't live close enough to me.
Well, you can make it your chosen family.
That's true.
Like, you have chosen family down in Texas.
That's true. I do. I can do that.
And then number 5 is cook a new recipe on a regular basis. The default in life is often to get stuck in meal ruts when life gets hectic. Take advantage of extra time in the slow winter months to find new recipes you want to try and cook one a week, or whatever works best with your schedule. These quick, easy, and then there's a link to some dinners, are a great starting point for gathering ideas. So I'll include the link to this website in the description of this week's podcast, so that if you all want to go and take a look at it, you can.
Start a new workout routine. This is usually where I get like zoned out, because usually anything that comes with weight loss and or working out comes with a lot of shame and fat phobia, and I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people's issues with like going to the gym or going somewhere where other people are going to be doing like physical fitness. I know that's one of the reasons I started taking, or I took a bag with me to work to start going to the gym, because we have a gym at work and I could just go. But I'm like, I don't really like going in and working out when there are other people. So it's like, it's hard for me to see when people aren't in there. But I do need to like, I want to start actually getting a little more physically active whenever I could just be. And part of that might just be me buying a treadmill to have in the house.
Yeah, I definitely want to be more active as well. But same problem. Like, I don't want to go to a gym. I don't want to go and be judged anywhere. Like, I want to be able to just enjoy my active time because I want to be active, not because I'm being pressured by society into having to lose weight.
Yeah, and maybe the thing with us is we need to go like maybe turn it into like your social, or not social, your mental health break is, instead of like go binge on a movie or go watch the TV, go outside and like take a stroll in a park or something.
Yeah.
So making it something that's not so much like I think you're probably more physically active than I am because you walk a lot more. Like, you have to walk to meet your Uber or your Lyft or get on the bus.
Yeah, that's true.
I walk to my car and then I walk to the facility I work in, and then I walk back home whenever I get back to my car. So, and I think the rest of these, we don't really need to, maybe let's not read the description on a few of them, and we'll only do a few more, and just read like the actual, and then give read the actual resolution and then give our feedback, kind of like what we just did.
Okay. Sounds good.
So like the next one is schedule regular breaks from social media. This is another thing like we talked about last time, where screen time, like reducing your screen time. I'm not a huge fan of that. I mean, yeah, cool. If you want to do that, that's fine.
Right.
I think if it makes sense for you to be on your phone, or if it makes you feel, if it's something that you like to do and enjoy doing, and it's not causing harm from like your work or your social life, then it's not that big of a deal. I do know there's like a lot of apps that if this is something that you're looking at doing, there are apps that can like shut off parts of your phone for a specific time, and then you can't actually like utilize them until the timer is up. I know there's usually, sometimes I think there's like a code that you would get. I think there's actually, and I haven't looked into this much because I don't care that much about it, but I think there's an app where you can select and put the phone number of like a friend in, and it sends the friend like that code that if you need to get on like online and do something in that time period, the friend can give you the code and it will turn it off.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of like your social media break buddy.
Yeah. Kind of help you stay on track.
Yeah.
Like an accountability buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could definitely stand to spend a little less time on my phone. Definitely something that I've been trying to change, though, when it comes to like screen time and whatnot, is spending less time on my phone and spending less time viewing certain things on my phone.
Yeah.
So like, for example, instead of listening to as many true crime things, like I'm trying to like branch out and listen to, other things about like history and art and the other things that I'm interested in. Taking breaks from the news is a big one for me. Things like that. So for me, it's less decreasing my screen time and more being mindful of what I'm doing with my screen time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The next one is decrease your waste. So that's something we were literally just talking about by talking about like food waste.
Yeah. And I think depending on how, like, well, that's also, it also talks about reusable grocery bags and water bottles instead of plastic, and then using bars of soaps instead of bottles. So like it talks about those as well. Ooh, bee wraps. I've been looking at like bee wax wraps, potentially looking at, instead of using plastic wrap, like how can you utilize bee wax wraps? Because I love the sound of them. I've watched some TikToks of them like making the wraps, and where they like add the bee wax to the cloth, and the sound that they make is so cool. And you basically, as long as you warm it up with your hands, and then as it cools down in the fridge, it creates not a permanent, not a sealed like leak free seal, because it's obviously cloth, it has to breathe, but it creates something that like will keep the food and stuff away from other stuff.
Right. Keeps out bacteria.
Yeah, and we are terrible at where we'll make enough food for more than the two of us and then just leave it out and throw it away. We're bad about it.
I remember.
Like it's really bad. Like we made and I might have it for lunch tomorrow, but Ryan made chicken fried rice last night for dinner, and he did actually put it up, but most of the time it just stays in the pan, and then we throw it away the next day.
Yeah. I always put my leftovers up because I eat on them for several days.
Yeah, we're bad about that. So maybe one thing we can look at doing more is putting away our leftovers so we can actually utilize them instead of throwing them away.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
And then the next one is plan a vacation somewhere new.
Like, I want to do that, but at the same time.
It's like I want to do that, but at the same time, my wallet is saying, bitch, where are you going?
Yeah.
To the neighbors? Is that the new place? Your neighbors?
Exactly. My wallet is like, so we're going to the kitchen then. Got it.
I look at my budget and it's like, so you want to go downstairs to someone's house beside you or behind you? That's where you want to go?
You want to go to work?
Because you're not going too far.
That's my favorite though, is you want to go to work?
Yeah. I did say though, and I asked Ryan if you wanted to look into going into New York City in the fall. I was like, we don't have the money to do it for the spring, and I'm not going in the summer, so it would have to be the fall.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm not dealing with New York City in the blistering hot heat.
No, absolutely not. Gross. Place stinks.
Yeah.
I would like to travel back to Indiana to like see my mom and them. But as far as like somewhere new, probably not.
It expires soon in July, but I have $150 for a Greyhound bus.
That's true.
Not for me. I would not use it. I can give it to you and you can use it to go somewhere.
Okay.
Because I am not riding a Greyhound bus ever again.
I was surprised you did it the first time.
I was too. And I got to New York City and I was like, this was a mistake. Well, I actually got to, I don't remember where I was. I think it was in New York. And I was like, there's a bus right there that I can get on and go back to Rhode Island. And then I can just drive my car and I will eat the rest of this trip. But then I ended up canceling my trip back, and I just paid for a first class plane trip. And I was like, I deserve it.
You're like, after the horrors that I just witnessed, I deserve this.
Was it $500 one way for a plane ticket? Yes, it was. Did I deserve it? Yes, I did.
All right. Number 10, start volunteering. And like, here's the problem. I want to volunteer. I would love to like volunteer. There's a place here that rescues pigs. It's a pig rescue. And I desperately want to go there and help with the pigs because I love pigs. But I don't have the time or the energy or the money. Like, that's the thing that people don't seem to realize, is that you're using your own means to get there. You're using your time and energy. You know, that's like, for me, I'd have to spend the money to get there and then the money to get back. The money to feed myself while I'm there, you know, that kind of thing.
Could you, I mean, for the travel, could you like get some of your friends to go with you and do it and then bring your lunch?
Maybe.
It's like, see if like some of your friends want to get together and like volunteer together. And then that way you don't have to worry about having to pay, like maybe you throw in like $5 or something for gas. And then that way you don't have to pay for your bus ticket or whatever, however you get there or back. And then if you take your own, you can make it like it's a trip to do volunteering, but then we can also have like a picnic as well.
That's true. That's true.
Be like a fun friend outing. I am hoping that I'm meeting with a member. Sorry, I heard something. Don't know what that was.
Are you being haunted?
I don't know. Anyways, I have a meeting on, I think it's Wednesday, the 11th, whatever the 11th is, with someone from the
11th is a Thursday.
Then it's Thursday. It's not Thursday. It's Wednesday. So it's the 10th. It is Wednesday. So I have a meeting with a member of the Massachusetts LGBTQ or LGBT plus Chamber of Commerce, where we are talking about how Boston Scientific currently helps them. And then some things that the Quincy facility can start doing to help. Like, can we help volunteer at some events, or can we host an event on site where someone from the community or someone from their group comes and talks about something that is LGBT event related. So I have that going on this year at some point, and we're doing more ERG related stuff. One thing that I think we talked about on here is, instead of doing like everybody talks about doing like a book or reading a book, doing like a book club and all that. Mm-hmm. I was in a group, an ERG leader. And for those that don't know, ERG is Employee Resource Group. Because I started one, I was in a leader development program this last half of the year. Mm-hmm. Started in September. And I talked to the woman that was leading it, and she said, well, instead of doing like everybody talks about the books and reading books, and we did a movie instead of a book, where we watched a movie and then we talked about it after we watched it. So like we had people, and so I was thinking we could plan like a on site where we could do maybe like wine and popcorn and a movie, or like drinks and popcorn and a movie. And then we could watch the movie and then have like a debrief afterwards where we talk about the movie.
Right.
But I'm still waiting to hear what the budget is for the ERG, because the corporate group assigns the budget. and that would come out of the ERG budget for that. And also finding work appropriate LGBT plus movies is difficult.
Is it because we get over sexualized and over violenced by the media?
Potentially, yeah.
Weird how that works.
All right. So the next one is decorate that space you've been meaning to. Oh, I totally thought that was going somewhere else, which I did. Oh, I already started that because I put my diplomas up, or my degrees up.
Yeah, you did.
Because other than that, I have just bare walls because I don't like things on my wall. Oh, it's my neighbors. That's the noise I'm hearing. We got new upstairs neighbors and they walk very heavily. It's very frustrating.
I see.
They're also the reason that my apartment flooded.
Your apartment flooded?
I didn't tell you this. Yeah.
No.
It was 2 weeks ago. I think it was on Saturday 2 weeks ago. I got out of the shower and I heard some water and I was like, oh, every now and then we'll hear like water dripping somewhere, and it's usually just like running through the pipes. So I was like, okay, that's what it is. And I was like, no, that sounds louder. So I opened the bathroom door and I looked out and there was water pouring from the ceiling there are these little pot lights in the hallway. Right. There was water pouring from one of those and then dripping and pouring down from the smoke detector into the hallway. And like the hallway was flooded. I ended up taking the trash bag out of the trash can and sitting it where it was coming out of the light. And then I had my mop bucket that I put under the other one. So luckily it didn't get too bad because they were in the office, and I ran to the office and I was like, I quickly got dressed, ran to the office, and I was like, my apartment is flooding. And she was like, okay, well, I'll let the maintenance people know. I'm like, I don't think you understand. It is flooding. She was like, okay, well, let me call him. And she called him and she was like, he's finishing something at this other apartment complex. He'll be here in like an hour. I'm like, I don't think you understand. When I say my apartment's flooding, I mean, it's flooding. She goes, okay, well, do you want me to come? Yes, I would like you to come and see it. So she came in and I opened the door and she was like, oh, wow. Yeah, this is really bad. I wasn't just going to come and get you and just say my apartment's flooding and just be joking.
What?
And like be over dramatic about it. And she goes, okay, well, let me call him and see what he thinks. And it was apparently the hot water heater in the apartment upstairs had blown or whatever, malfunctioned, and it was flooding their apartment too. And that's where the water was coming from their apartment down through the ceiling into my apartment. And she was like, they'll be here in a little bit. No one ever came to my apartment. It stopped like 20 minutes after she came in and ran upstairs. It had stopped leaking, but it was like no one ever came in to look at the damage. No one ever came in to see if it had stopped. Nothing.
Oh my God.
I was like, cool.
How incompetent are they?
I mean, they're not the best, but it's like you can tell because there's like water damage on the ceiling. Not much. It's just like what it looks like when something leaks, like when you see water leak.
Right.
But there's just like no one ever came in to see how things, or if they needed to do any repair or anything like that. It's very odd. I thought we talked about it, but apparently not.
No, I would remember this conversation.
Oh, I'll send you the video because I took a video of it.
Oh my God.
I'm surprised I didn't send you the video.
Okay. I'm skipping down because all these next ones are boring. So I'm skipping down to number 15, which is learn a new language. And this is something I'm actively working on currently because of school.
I was going to say, I hope so. I don't know that I want to learn a new language. I do, but I also don't.
I can understand that.
So I think I'm going to bypass that one. I mean, there's make a movie list and start watching through it. It's kind of like the same thing as create a list of books that you want to read. I know. Yeah. I think I remember you doing that. Like you wanting to pay attention to how many books you were reading and like make a journal of all the books that you were reading throughout the year.
Yeah. I did a book journal. And I still keep track of the books I read every year on Goodreads. I have not been reading as much the last couple of years. Depression's really been kicking my ass, but I am hoping this year that I will turn that around. Actually, something I'm planning on doing here after we are done with the podcast is to sit and read for a little bit.
And that's further down. There's chronicle books. So journal journal what you think about the book, and then read more is further down too.
Yeah. And I think it's important to like.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say something.
I think it's important to kind of write your thoughts about a book, you know, like, or a movie. Like, I think it's important to write down your thoughts about things that you enjoyed or didn't enjoy, and, you know, kind of have a free space to express that. I think that's cool.
Yeah. One thing I think we could probably potentially do is start utilizing our website more, since we have it. And Sarah was supposed to write her thoughts about a little movie we watched and send them to me, and never has. But I think what you could do as well is write like a little blurb of the books that you read, or when you want to, but make it to where we do, like, if you want to review like one book a month or something like that, we could, instead of doing it on the podcast, or maybe in addition to doing it on the podcast, you could write it and send it to me, and then I could put it on the website.
So we'd have like a little blog.
Yeah.
As well.
Or I could give you the information on how to access it, and you could just do it yourself.
Or I can just do it myself.
After I show you how to do it, because I'm sure it's not that difficult to edit the website using the platform that I use.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. Some of these are about like keeping things clean, growing something. And you know what? I would love to grow something. However, I'm struggling to keep myself alive. So I think once I've perfected that, maybe then I'll grow something.
I mean, a lot of the rest of them are talking about the common, like most goals people have, like read more, see more family, see your friends more. There's stuff that's like try something new. Yeah. Get a hobby. There are some that it's like you can tell that they were trying to fill in, and like maybe one of the book, it's an advertisement for a book, because there's a few of these that are specific to a book.
Yeah. And now I do like this one that says make monthly playlists. I do something kind of like that. I will make date playlists where I will, if I am obsessing over a particular song or songs, I'll create a playlist with that day's date of those songs so that I can revisit. Sorry, dropped something on the floor. So I can revisit that later.
That's cool. I don't really, well, I guess I could use YouTube Music, but is that what you use?
I use Spotify.
Oh, okay. I don't use Spotify. I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of Spotify. And then I don't want to pay the premium, and I don't want to listen to ads. That's why I have YouTube and YouTube Music. So I guess I could potentially do that with YouTube Music. I know, well, I think one of the issues I had was you can't have YouTube Music playing on two things at once. Mm-hmm. And when I would leave, when Bobo was here, I would leave the music playing on the Google Home thing.
Oh, right.
So that he had something that he was listening. Well, he wasn't listening to it, and he didn't really care, I don't think, but it was more in case like noises happened that set him off. So I couldn't listen to it on the way to work, or last year during our holiday party, I kept having to continue the songs because it would stop because it was playing at home.
Whoops.
So yeah, the rest of this list, and again, we'll include the link to this list in the description of the podcast, but the rest of them are pretty self-explanatory, and some that everybody always does. So we don't need to go through the rest of the list. Well, you have any fun plans for the weekend other than reading and maybe playing some more video games?
No, not really. I'm not doing anything this weekend. I am broke as a joke.
No.
My paycheck and my rent check got screwed up because of the holidays. So I ended up having to pay $50 more than I usually do.
No.
And so, yeah.
Gross.
Yep.
Speaking of finances, my dad had an issue with his and they still haven't received it, which is weird, had an issue with his insurance where he sent it. So he sent it on the 20th. It's due on the 25th. They hadn't received it, so they canceled his insurance. So it went into lapsed. And I got an email on January 1st that his insurance had lapsed. And I was like, well, what is going on? So I called him and he was like, no, I sent it. So then I had to call Progressive and I was like, what is going on? They were like, well, it looks like, and he sent it using the envelope that they give you in like the mail, because he gets the actual bill for it every month. Well, every 6 months. He had been paying it every 6 months. But he sent it in the envelope that they gave him, which is good because they have like a tracking system where if they see it, it shows that it's on the way.
Right.
And then they were like, well, it looks like it's tracking where it's on the way, but we just haven't received it yet. So we can't, like, until we actually physically receive it, we can't post it to the account. And I'm like, so what is he supposed to do? Because right now he doesn't have any insurance. And they were like, well, that's there's nothing we can do unless you want to do like a replacement payment. And then when we receive it, we can reverse the charge for you. Or you can just wait it out and see if it comes. And it still hasn't posted to the insurance account yet. And that was, I mean, it was the 20th. So there was also, it didn't send in the post until the 21st. So then there was Christmas, then there was New Year's. So it's like, they just haven't received it yet. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I was like, if they don't receive it by Friday, I'll let you know. And then I would just, for you, go into your bank on Monday and ask them to, because it was a money order he got from his bank. And he has the money order number, and because he did it through his bank, they can reverse the money order and put it back in his account. I'm like, there's no reason for you to lose that money because it got lost in the post and it's taking way too long. And I already paid I paid the month. He was freaking out because he thought I paid the 6 months. I was like, no. I paid for 1 month. I'm not paying $1,000. I'll pay $174. I won't pay the $1,000 to renew it for 6 months. Father.
Yeah, no joke.
So, but I took care of it for that month, and he has insurance now. So that was exciting. And then aside from that, we're supposed to get snow on Sunday. So Ryan and I probably won't do anything Sunday. And I'm not driving into work on Monday because I don't know how bad it'll be. But I don't think it says we're supposed to get between 3 to 7 inches of snow.
Dang.
So we'll get some snow. And then it's also, in addition to that, it's going to be like 34 mile per hour winds, or no, 30 to 40 mile per hour winds on top of the snow. So it's going to be cold and snowy and windy. So I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere.
The joys of a northeastern winter.
Yeah, but I mean, thankfully it's been a pretty tame 2 winters that we've stayed here. We've lived here because last year it didn't really snow that much. The first year it snowed a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. And then this year so far, this is our 3rd winter that we've spent in the Northeast. It hasn't been too bad.
That's good.
All right. Well, you ready to call it a podcast? Because I have to make dinner.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this week's episode of Now About That with James and Sarah. If you like this episode, please give us a like, a comment, and don't forget to follow or subscribe. If you would, leave a review in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen, as this will help get the podcast out to more people and help us grow. And feel free to follow us on social media. Our Instagram handle, Twitter handle, all of our handles everywhere are at Now About That Pod. And if there's something specific you would like us to talk about on the podcast, feel free to email us at nowaboutthatpod@gmail.com or visit our website, www.nowaboutthatproductions.com. gmail.com, and you can leave us a voicemail or send us a text message with any questions or anything you'd like us to discuss on the podcast. The phone number is 765-557-4170. Thanks again for listening, and we hope you have a great week since this will be coming out on Monday. And Sarah, enjoy your weekend.
You too. Be safe.
You too. You know what they say, never risk it, wrap your biscuit. All right, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.